Online launching has changed, and if you're trying to launch like you did a few years ago, you might just see a floppy launch. Now, if you don't want to have a launch that flops, you probably want to listen to the rest of this video. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And in this YouTube video, I'm going to go through the 5 things that you need to do to ensure that your launch doesn't flop. Now, we've got to recognize that audiences evolve and change, and what people are used to seeing online changes, and therefore what they show up to, what they trust, what they buy will also change as well. So I think if you go back a few years ago, people would join a free webinar and they wouldn't know that there was a sell at the end. So that massively affected people's trust. Also, I think there's been a bit of an influx over the recent years where people just run ads on these pre-recorded webinars and they pretend it's live, and I think people have got wise to that. And I think also just buying a course where it's a do-it-yourself pre-recorded course, people have bought lots of them before and found that they don't stick to them. Because they don't stick to them, they don't get the results. Because they don't get the results, they think, I won't buy a course again. So these are just some examples of the things that we need to be aware of if we want to continue to launch in 2026 and not see them fail. So let me dive into the 5 things. Tip number 1, you need to make your free launch event better. Now, if you're new to launching, what I mean by free event is rather than just going out on social media and going, hey, I've released a course, or I've just opened the doors of my membership, come and join it. What we're generally going to do is put something out there that we promote for free. And at the end of that freebie, we then lead into the pitch if people want to continue working with us. So a free launch event might be a challenge, a summit, a boot camp. It might be a webinar, a masterclass, but it's something where we invite people along for free to give them some value, to give them a bit of a try before they buy experience. And then we lead into the pitch where they can then find out how they can work with us beyond the free event. But again, when we look at how audiences have changed, it's my belief that if you want to have a successful launch in 2026, you're going to probably need to do more and give more in your free stuff as well as in the paid stuff. So something I've taught people and myself done for many, many years is just give, give, give. I always say, give them everything you possibly can within that time period for free. I make it my objective that whether people buy from me or not, at the end of my free stuff, that they leave that going, that was really useful. That genuinely helped. That genuinely taught me stuff. And that's genuinely been a good experience. Now, I think a lot of other people teach things like tell them the what they need to do, tell them the why they need to do it, but don't tell them how. That's the stuff you sell to them. I've always said, I think that's rubbish. I think within whatever the time frame is, so you might be doing a 90-minute masterclass, you might be doing a 4-day challenge, whatever it is that you're doing for free, try and give them everything you possibly can within that time frame. Now, caveat, not to the point where it's overwhelming and they're just like, I can't do anything. But as best as you can, really try and help people for free. And I think what that does is in a world of AI where we're struggling to trust what's real and who we should work with, who we shouldn't work with, it helps people really identify that you really care. You go above and beyond. You don't hold back. You're not just trying to get money out of them. You're genuinely trying to make a positive impact and you're genuinely trying to help people. So the first tip is really evaluate your free launch event and think, how can this be even better? How can it be more impactful? Also, how can it be even more clearer what we're doing here? So that's think about the title of the free thing in relation to your ideal client. When they look at that title, does it really scream that this is the thing I need right now? This is what I need help with. So all that needs real thought as well. But ultimately, the first tip is don't get lazy with your free events. Just because you've done a webinar that worked well before, it might not be as effective now in a 2026 world. So find ways you can improve the experience, you can give more, you can help more, and you can get people to really trust that you care and that you're the real deal, that really is an expert at what you do. Now, the second tip is around looking at the offer that you have at the end of the free launch event. What I'll often teach people is you need to make sure that the offer is an irresistible no-brainer offer. And an exercise that you can do that will really help you with this is really take the time to think about who the ideal client is that you want to buy this, and write down every problem, every objection, fear, every pain point, every desire that that ideal client has. You can almost do it like on the left-hand side of a piece of paper or on a whiteboard or something, if you got something like that, like write everything down on the left-hand side. And then to the right of it, to each one of those points, think, how does your offer deliver on that or solve or handle that objection, for example. So with that in mind, here's a few key points that you could consider with your offer. The first one is giving them access to you. Now, with a lot of previous launches, people might just have a pre-recorded course, they do the free webinar, and then at the end of it, they launch the course and they just go, there you go, all the info's in there. Thank you very much. And that's been successful for some people over the years, and they've been able to have pretty much semi-passive income where they record the course once, and then once that's recorded, they can just sell it time and time and time again. And every time they do these launches, they get these big influxes of people buying and a big influx of money. But what they weren't seeing is a big influx of people completing the courses, getting results, and then raving about it afterwards. And one of the reasons is people need personalized support. They need accountability. They need motivation. They need inspiration. And just going through a course completely on your own without actually having access to you or being able to speak to anybody is not going to help most people get results. So think about how can you give them that support? Could you have, for example, when people join my course, we have a WhatsApp group. We do live Q&A sessions. We've also now introduced a chatbot, which is basically an AI version of me that's taken all my knowledge, all my information, all my course content, my book, everything that I teach and talk about. It has all this knowledge stored and it speaks in a way that's kind of like me, although apparently it calls everyone mate. I'm not sure I call everyone mate all the time anyway. So even though that's not actual direct access to me, it's a live chat bot where there's that live conversational element that is very much like talking to me. So really look at that within your offer. How can we increase access to you? How can we give people accountability and give them support? And following on from that, the second thing is how can we create live elements? So when I launched my course, Online Business Mastery, coming up to almost 2 years ago now, even back then, I was saying your courses need to be a hybrid model. And what that means is rather than just a pre-recorded course, can there be live sessions? Can there be coaching? Can there be community? Rather than it just being a course, I was talking about how can we look at creating something that is so much more than a course. And I think one of the big things a lot of people need is live training. Something where they've got a date in the diary, they can show up live, they get the energy of a live training again, rather than it just being a pre-record. So even with the previous intake of my course, Online Business Mastery, that was 8 wildly in-depth modules that were all pre-recorded. But then the people that joined that last intake actually got over a year's worth of support where every single month they're in a WhatsApp group with me, but also once a month we do a live 2-hour Zoom session, which is sometimes me giving a bit of extra content, but largely it's Q&A based. So this is an opportunity for everybody going through that course to come together, to ask questions, to get personal, bespoke guidance and answers rather than just generalized course material that everybody's going through. And that really helps people keep on track, keep engaged, feel supported, and get that more personalized advice that they need that takes into consideration nuance that just a pre-recorded course doesn't do. The third thing to think about with your offer is create a community, not just content. So again, and this is a big one for memberships in particular, people will come for the content but stay for the community. If they can be around other people that are like-minded, that are on a similar mission, that are learning something similar to them, and they can be actively engaging with those other people, they're way more likely to stick to doing the thing and therefore getting the results. And then that means everybody wins. You get better testimonials, they get the outcome that they wanted. And following on from that, the fourth tip is, can you introduce some kind of done for you element? So for example, when people join our membership now, they actually are going to have access to AI tools that help them grow their audience for them. When people join my Elevation Mastermind, there's also an element of they get access to my social media content creator who for 6 months creates content every single week for them to post. In a 2026 world, I think if you're creating courses and products and memberships that are solely based on information, I think you're going to struggle. And a couple of the reasons are, firstly, people have done a lot of courses before and they've realized they need more than just the information and the knowledge. Secondly, AI is meaning information is more readily available than it's ever been before. So therefore it's less valuable and people are less willing to pay for information. And so because of these reasons, we've got to think, well, how can we adapt what we offer rather than just telling them what to do? is there a way we can do some of it for them? Things like giving them templates, things like when people do Online Business Mastery, my course, they have a template of their sales page already done for them. So they just need to change the logo and the wording slightly, but there's an actual template they can access and use. They've just got to update it to be their own content. So that's something for you to really look at. How can this be more than just educational? Okay, so that was quite a long one. That's tip 2 about making your offer a no-brainer, irresistible offer. Let's move on to point number 3. So the third tip I'm going to give you, if you want to have a successful launch this year that doesn't flop, is make lots of space and time for the launch process. Generally speaking, I would say you want to heavily promote your free launch event around about 2 weeks before the free event. And then you're then going to deliver the event and then open the cart for people to buy the product at the end of the launch event. Now, typically, I would suggest you have the cart open for around about 7 days after opening the cart. So this gives people an opportunity to get in to buy whatever it is that you're selling. Now, you might want to go up to 14 days. You might want to do a shorter cart period of just 5 days, but typically it's going to be around that 7-day period. So what you've got is you've got a couple of weeks really heavily promoting the free event. Then you might have 1 to maybe 5 days of delivering the free event. If, for example, it's like a 5-day challenge or something like that. And then you might have up to another fortnight of the cart being open, in which you might be creating lots of content and lots of reminders. You might be jumping on calls with people that are not sure whether it's right for them. And this third tip really is about protecting your energy. You need your energy to be high throughout the whole of that process. People buy energy, they buy enthusiasm. And if you're shattered, if you're underslept, if you're feeling overwhelmed and burnt out, that's going to reflect and people are going to pick up on that energy and you're going to lose sales. So it's about really being disciplined when it comes to having a more successful launch. Personally, I'm big on don't be working with one-to-one clients over that period if you can avoid it. Don't be booking in other things in the diary. Don't be having loads of social events where you might be out late and, busy weekends and things like that. Like, really seriously plan your launch and look at your diary to make sure that you're giving yourself the best shot of being really focused, really present, really energized so that you can deliver your best work. The mistake that I have definitely made in the past is I've had launch weeks where I've also got full days with one-to-one clients on Zoom and I'm giving everything to them. And then I'm maybe speaking on stages or at live events at the weekend. And actually you just end up doing everything. Maybe I would say, I'm not going to lie, it was above average, maybe maybe good, but not outstanding. And not just was it not outstanding, I also was feeling exhausted throughout the process, which is not good for your health either. So this is something to really look at. Block out the time. When is this launch period? And I mean the whole period, including the promotion period. And make sure you're being really disciplined and you're saying no to other stuff to create time and space to do the best launch you can. The fourth tip is around not launching prematurely. And what I mean by that is if you want to hit those bigger numbers in your launches, if you want to have launches that are doing 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, £1 million launches, you need to understand that it is just a numbers game. Once you've got a great launch experience, once you've made sure that your offer at the end is an irresistible no-brainer offer, and once you make sure you've blocked out the time to deliver the best experience you can, it's then about enough people showing up. And if you don't have a big enough audience where you're perceived as an authority and an expert in your industry by them, if you don't have, the thousands on your email list, the thousands that follow you on social media and watch your content, listen to your podcast, those kind of things, if you don't have those bigger numbers, then that trickles down to the outcome because it's just a conversion game. Typically, you can expect around 1 to 8% of people that sign up to your free launch event to actually buy. So again, if you're getting 20,000 people that sign up to your free launch event, you can expect a pretty epic launch. If you're getting just 20 people sign up, you're probably going to struggle to get many, if any, sales. So it really is a numbers game. So I want you to think about your launches as being strategic, not just in terms of what it is you deliver and how good the offer is, but in terms of your visibility. Like, are you giving yourself enough time to build enough of an audience that are engaged, that know, like, and trust you before you then come to that period when you're going to do the launch? Now, I want to flip this a little bit and go to the other side of it, which is I think sometimes people get too fixated on building the bigger numbers and they forget about the importance of that one-to-one relationship with people. And that's something I really want you to think about in 2026. Don't just go out one to many, one, en masse and just think about getting these big numbers. Think about within the audience you already have, how well engaged are you with those people? So putting time aside to reach out to people one-to-one, to send voice notes and DMs, to doing that more one-to-one personal outreach to bring in new people, to creating more longer form content like podcasts and YouTube. All these things are going to help deepen that relationship with your audience rather than you just going and speaking on big stages and putting out a freebie to get them on your email list or being on a guest on other people's big podcasts. Like, can you come back to, okay, who's my audience I've already got? How can I deepen and strengthen the relationship with the people in that now so that when I do that next launch, they're more engaged, they feel more connected to me, and they're more likely to want to buy. And the fifth and final point that I want to share with you, or tip that I'm going to give you to help you with your launches in 2026. This is one you probably don't hear a lot of people speak about, but it's probably why a lot of people are having crap launches, is in everything you do, bring your real personality to it. Like, if you're funny, be funny. If you're geeky and a bit awkward, be geeky and a bit awkward and highlight that that's who you are and that's what you like. If you're a bit sweary and ranty and high energy, then be that. I think one of the biggest things that's going to help people buy into whatever it is you're selling, especially in a world with so much fake stuff online and so much artificial intelligence now, is them buying into you and knowing you're a real well-rounded person, not just an authority and not just an expert that really knows what they do, but there's something about you that makes them go, I can trust that you're a real human being. I get what makes you tick. I get the sort of journey you've been on, and I get your personality, and I can trust in that to deliver. And I can trust in that that's somebody I'm going to want to work with and learn from. So please don't forget that. I think so often people, when they're doing the free events and their webinars, they've got all the slides perfectly presented and written out, and then they just present it like they're a robot. Like, there's some people where AI would have been better to do it for them than them, rather than just showing up and be like, hello, everybody. I'm so happy that you're here today. And this is such an important subject. Like, ugh, nobody wants to give up their time for free to listen to that, let alone then buy something from that person at the end. So please take this seriously. Be self-aware enough to go, how am I showing up? Am I showing up with personality? Am I likable? Am I relatable? Am I real in the way that I'm showing up? Or am I trying to show up as something that I'm not? Because let me tell you now, if you're trying to show up as something you're not, we smell it a mile off. It reeks of just trying to sell and you just want my money and you're just trying to be polished and look perfect. And we see through it. It's not going to work. Anyway, there you go. 5 tips for your upcoming launches in 2026. Do me a favor, let me know below. Has this helped? Is this useful? Is this the sort of stuff you want from me? Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Going to be doing a load of content for you this year. I have made it one of my goals and one of my priorities to really double, triple down on quality, useful content here, right here on this YouTube channel. So please do engage with me. Put something in the comments. Let me know, is this the stuff that's useful? Do you need more of this? Or if it's something else, let me know what you really want from me, because I'm going to be creating a lot of content. So I might as well be creating stuff you actually want. So let me know. I'll see you on next video, hopefully.